How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. This is the JR Wisdom channel. I appreciate you guys tuning in once again. In today's topic, I'm going to be discussing a question that I've been asked recently. A lot. I've been receiving a lot of emails, not tons, but a lot of emails in reference to this. And it's basically what I'm being asked is, how can I keep my man, or how can I keep my husband from leaving me or moving on with another woman or a side chick or things like that? And I was responding to these subscribers. I appreciate your questions. I was responding to them, but I guess I just need to make this video. A lot of the emails seem to sound the same, as if it was the same person. So I'm gonna go ahead and address this right now, letting you know that there's no cookie cutter answer to this, right? There's no voodoo spell or some type of love spell or whatever to keep a man from leaving you. It's all subjective on the situation. It's all dependent on what's going on in your household. Why a man is nothing you can do per se to stop a man from leaving you. So with that being said, I'm gonna jump right into the emails. I kind of combined them all so that we can get an overall view on what they're asking. So I'm gonna just kind of mesh them together, and then I'm gonna respond. So in the case of relationships, how can we as women prevent being taken for granted and become that valuable deal that a man just cannot risk losing? How do you become his non-negotiable? Furthermore, do you think if a man actually does put himself in a position to lose his love, that he never really loved her? Lastly, I am of the belief that true love only comes after marriage, as then you would have seen both the good and bad of a person. However, sometimes you will hear stories of men, for example, leaving their wife of 15 years to pursue a relationship with a work wife or a side chick. In those cases, would you say that most of the time those men simply fell out of love, or do you think they lost hope in their marriage for things to get better, hence why they left? I feel like if a person is willing to leave someone they have been with for over a decade for someone new, it can be because they love them more, since true love comes after marriage, or can it be? I know sometimes that people we've known for 2 weeks can make us feel a way a person we've known for 2 years never made us feel. However, even in that case, would you say it's more than just, would you say it's more lust than love? Or is it that rare deep connection we often hear about between the two? I am just genuinely curious about what would make a man give up his wife and family to be with someone new. In your opinion, is it a matter of familiarity breeding content? Or is it simply a case of missed signs of the relationship being over years prior? Going back to the question I asked earlier, and this is, like I said, I'm combining these emails. Going back to the question I asked earlier about a man risking it all to leave his wife and family, I was wondering, because there would be a soul tie after being married to a person so long. How is it possible for the husband to quickly move on with the side chick? Wouldn't he be emotionally unavailable? Or are breakups different for men? I.e., do they tend to quickly move on, and then it hits them later on, hence why some men come back to their wives? Or is it a matter of love never really being present in the relationship to begin with, which is why the man was able to quickly move on, though he may still be attached to her in some ways? So these are a few questions right here, as you can see, from different subscribers, 3 subscribers, and I just combined them all, where they tend to sound the same. And the concern and the question is based upon these men encountering new women, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be on the street, whether it be just randomly, for that effect. Or basically in the case of Kevin Hart, which I covered a video as well, which if you stick around to the end, I've linked it, where he basically came up and he decided, because he had access, similar to the pastor video I did, because of he may have had access to a different caliber of women, and I use that term loosely, he had access to a different caliber of women, so he felt comfortable with cheating on his wife and even moving on with one of these young ladies. And not to say he didn't already, there probably wasn't even a spark there, even though she was with him all the way through the times, I guess he was working at Foot Locker and coming up to be the prominent comedian, movie star that he is now. She was with him throughout this time, and he basically found a woman who he thought was more of a better fit for him, or the woman that he truly desired, and there was no longer a spark with his wife. So who knows what was going on behind closed doors, regardless of if she was with him during that time. Maybe there was nothing there, and he just felt like, hey, this is what I want. It's time to move on. Even though we see what happened with him, he moved on with this young lady, and he still cheated on her. And this is a popular, one of the most successful black men in America that actually did this, and he still cheated on a woman for the world to see, even though he's supposed to be. This just happened in a marriage not too many years prior to this, and he kind of did the same thing, and he got caught and he got called out on it. So it can be a number of things, but no man is going to, and this is the bottom line, and I want y'all to get this clear. No man is going to cheat on a woman that he feels that will just up and leave him. He will roll the dice and take the chance. If he feels that he'll truly leave, that woman will truly leave him and she'll be gone, he's not gonna risk it. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but he's not gonna risk it in that moment in time. And I discussed that, previously. So being valuable in the sight of your lover is ultimately subjective, as I said before. No video, no advice that I'm about to give and continue to try and give my opinion on this is going to change the mind of a man. No one is going to do something. There's nothing you can really do other than, when you ask what can you do to be that non-negotiable? That non-negotiable is being able to walk away. It's just like sales. Being able to walk away. If you know that you are generally, not to say compliant, but you've been an overall good person, decent person. You've been what this quote unquote, that discussion, that communication that y'all may have had, that y'all should have had about what he expects of you and vice versa, and he still steps out after this, and you've been a good person to this guy, then it's his loss at the end of the day. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is, and this is what many women feel like they waste their good years for a man later on in life to leave them for maybe a younger lady, is that many of the relationships that we find ourselves in, they go on for longer than they should. And people tend to stick together in marriage or relationships for nothing other than the fact that it's convenient at the end of the day. It's convenient, and they're afraid to be alone. And that's just the fact of the matter. A lot of people don't want to hear that. Sometimes you can meet someone in a day or a couple days, or that knocks your socks off, and that may present something that you may say the grass may be greener because you're tired of dealing with this person that you got at home, or they're just not generating that spark at the end of the day. And I believe that if you truly love someone, regardless of this going on, if you truly love someone, then you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't cheat on someone. You wouldn't go out and sleep with someone else if you truly love them. You wouldn't risk it if you know for sure. And I can't harp on that enough. If you know for sure, if I know that this woman, if I go out and I sleep with this young lady that I met on the job or at a bar, and my lady finds out about it, and I know that if she does find out about it, she's going to leave me, I'm going to think twice about that. And you got habitual cheaters, you got repeat offenders who keep doing it because they know that their lady is going to stick around. And that's just the fact of the matter. They know for sure that their lady's going to stick around. And it's just the way it is. There's a saying that says love is cursed by monogamy. That love that you have it not to say that it can't last forever, but it may eventually die out. It's just the nature of us as human beings. We as human beings can be fickle. As much as we say that women are fickle, we as human beings, male or female, we can be fickle. I feel that you don't truly know, like the young lady was saying in the email. She said you can't truly love someone until you've been married to them, or truly know what love is until you're married to them. But I think in certain instances, you can't truly know what love is until it's no longer there. And me personally, I experienced that. So I can tell you from my experience, you truly don't know what love is a lot of times until maybe you've been mistreated in the past, or maybe you didn't value that person that was giving you their love, and now that they're no longer there, you value it then. Same thing when you lose any loved one, whether it be through death or them moving on in a relationship. We take things for granted. And sometimes some people can view this as an attachment issue. Scarcity creates value, absence creates value, fear creates value. And it's just the way our minds are. This is what will ultimately make you a non-negotiable, to answer your question. Being able to walk away when being devalued makes you valuable, if that makes any sense. It's very powerful. It's the strongest negotiating factor, is being able to walk away. And you're like, well, that may be a mind game. No, it's about protecting yourself and your mental health, and knowing what your worth is at the end of the day. People will only change for something that's emotionally compelling. And that goes for change or anything. And pain is one of them. And I think pain is, if not, it is the greatest motivator, nothing else. In terms of what one of my subscribers was asking, as far as, missing signs, I think we overlook this a lot of times in relationships. We don't listen to our partners. Our partners will tell us what they want, and we still won't, try to, not to say comply, but we still won't, give them what it is that they're looking for in certain aspects, if it is within our power. This happens all too often. And before you know it, especially with guys, we overlook what our ladies are saying or what they want, and then next thing you know, they're gone. And with women, I think men are very simple. Men are very simple. They're not complex as women are. But men do stupid things at the end of the day, like, because our attraction for a woman a lot of times is based upon physical. That's the initial thing, what we see physically. But all that is finite. Everyone's going to get old. Everybody's not going to look the same forever. So a lot of times, people do leave. People do have a side chick. Men do have side chicks, and they just tend to do these things. I'm not making excuses for anyone, but it does happen. In life, we all will meet someone, unless you're a hermit staying in the house, that's going to make us feel different, going to make us feel differently, going to make us feel electric. It's all about fighting the temptation or giving in to the temptation. And if you're not being authentic or real with yourself or your partner, and you're remaining in a relationship, then you're doing both of you a disservice when you could be with someone else. And this video is going to come off as harsh, but that's just the way it is. Staying in love, relationships are hard. Staying in love, keeping things fresh are hard. It's just how it is. It's marriage is hard. It's not the easiest task. But I feel like even after marriage and with these things, a big key is just being friends and knowing that friendship is forever. Companionship is forever. And the older we get, we seek more of companionship as far as that connection, the older we get. Especially, with men, they're seeking the same thing just as women are seeking companionship. And it's not so much love, if that makes sense. And, that's just the way I look at it. I'm still in my 30s, but from my experience on this earth, this is the way I look at it. As far as, and I'll go back to the risking it all thing, back to, because I just had some notes that I just want to cover on that. We stay in relationships, as I covered, past the due date. You both know that there's no spark there. You both know there's nothing going on, but it's just that fear that's keeping you there. And people will move on. They can move on. Men can, and they can and will move on because the attachment's gone. It's been dead a long time ago. And when that guy, he does move on, it hurts the woman because they still have an attachment when the man obviously doesn't. And they have to go through the anguish, the breakup, separation anxiety, all of this while the guy is just living his best life, or so it appears. Being emotionally available, and I think that was something that was asked. Being emotionally available, it comes with detachment. You have to be detached from the other partner to be emotionally available to another. Some people leave relationships because they're infatuated and they're living in the moment. And they may later, and it happens all the time, they later have regrets when they realize the grass isn't greener, or that person leaves them for someone else and does the same thing. I have a video called The Tyrone Effect I did early on in my YouTube career where I talk about this. But the thing is, this world is strange, love is strange, life is strange. People get back together in strange ways. People do strange things. Some people you start off with, you may not end up with, and some people you do start off with, you do end up with. It just all depends. People get back together and remarry all the time. And that could be, soul ties. Nothing is impossible. Life is strange. Love conquers all. Love conquers all. And the soul tie thing that you were asking, soul ties, I think it's possible. And I think what I just said, and I'll do a separate video on this, it covers the soul tie is a certain attachment that you may not be able to explain. The reason why some people keep coming back to each other, and they have this natural affinity for each other because of this said soul tie. But that's a different video altogether. So I don't want to make this video too long. I hope that this answers your question. In terms of that, nothing you can do can stop someone from doing something that they've made up their mind to do. We don't own anybody. We don't control anybody. We can just try to be the best we can be ourselves. And you come into a relationship to give. And what I mean by that is, when I say you come into a relationship to give, is that you communicate with your partner. That's about being in a relationship. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire? And vice versa. And you try to be that person, and you try to be loving, giving, just an overall giving person until that relationship no longer serves you. If you've done all that, you can walk away from a relationship knowing that your heart is free, and you don't have to have a heavy heart in reference to this. You can walk away knowing that you did the best that you could and gave all that you could, but at the same time, you need to honor and value yourself, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I hope this video has been helpful to all you subscribers and even some people who may be out there dealing with the same thing as well. If you have any topics you'd like me to discuss, or if you like some advice, feel free to email me. All the links are in the description. I have some videos that'll be popping up here shortly. You'll see here that if you want to know more about this topic and other similar subjects to this subject matter I'm covering right now, please feel free to click on them. Peace be upon you in the mercy and blessings of the Almighty. And remember, anything lost can be found again except for time wasted. I'll catch you guys on the next video, and I'm out of here. Peace.